What is up, guys? Welcome back. We got another episode of the Fantasy Fellow Show for everyone tonight. Thursday night, we have the Patriots and the Jets. Not the best game, but I'm sure everyone's got a little bit of action going on tonight. So welcome. Come on in, hang out. We're going to hang out for the next half an hour or so. I'll answer any questions you guys have. We'll look at some things. We'll look at the fantasyfellowship.com. I got a lot of things going on over there. We'll look at practice reports and all of the relevant news that we need to look at. So good evening. We got Daniel, we got Aiden, we got Gullies, we got Harris, we got Jerry. We got a lot of good people here in the chat tonight. And then before I get in there, I'm just gonna mention, hey, I'm running a discount code for the season package. If you use the code SAVINGS at checkout, you're gonna get $10 off. It's normally $50. You get it for $40 for the whole year. You get access to all my stuff here, and I got a lot of good stuff on the website right now. This week, I just loaded up the post-game notes, rest of season rankings. You got weekly rankings, start sit charts, and you also have access to my dynasty rankings, which I update on the first of each month. I might have to start doing some bi-monthly updates. And then I just put in some next-gen stat stuff, so maybe we look at that later in the show. But check that out. We're going to start it off here with Daniel's first question. Would you trade Ford for Kelce? It depends on who your tight end is. I think there's a handful of tight ends that I would prefer over Kelce right now. And honestly, man, I think we're pretty worried about Kelce at the moment. If he doesn't have at least an 8 to 10 point game this week, we're going to start to get really concerned, and he might not even be in our starting lineups. And I just see your tight end is Ferguson. So I think with Ferguson, I don't think you need Kelce. Because that's honestly, that might be Ferguson. Ferguson might be better than Kelce the rest of the year, I think, at this point. So I would rather hold on to Ford there if you can find another opportunity. I'm actually more interested in getting Kincaid over Kelce. I do agree. I think Ford is a little bit of a sell. With Deonta Foreman in the mix, I'm kind of viewing this backfield kind of like the Pittsburgh Steelers backfield, where Foreman might be like the Najee type guy that leads the team with 10, 12 carries, goal line opportunities. And Ford's going to continue to operate those 7 to 10 carries per game, 2, 3, 4 catches per game. So I still think Ford has value over the season. Foreman loses value when Chubb returns. So that scares me a little bit. But if you want to upgrade your tight end, I would rather have Kincaid over Kelce. I think Ford's probably more valuable to you than these two tight ends since you already have Ferguson. So I'm probably holding. If you can swap Ford for another receiver or running back, I think I might be more interested in that. And good evening to Aiden. Gully says we need 2 receivers to start. Waddle, Pittman, and Demarcus Robinson. Okay, so, Jalen Waddle has been on almost every question that I've been getting this week, whether it's on Twitter, TikTok, or YouTube, getting a lot of Waddle questions. And I think for good reason. We don't know what it's going to look like with Skylar Thompson. I think Jalen Waddle's not a top 36 wide receiver right now. I also don't think Michael Pittman Jr. is. I'm pretty concerned about Pittman Jr. I think Demarcus Robinson's probably your best option here among these 3 players. And Pittman against the Bears, that doesn't really excite me. I think I'm going to go Demarcus Robinson and Jalen Waddle. And one of the other things is Pittman has not had a good game. He has had 2 bad games, and now you're adding Josh Downs to the mix. So I'm kind of completely out on Michael Pittman Jr. right now. I'm going to go Demarcus Robinson and Jalen Waddle. Good evening to Harris. Hope you're doing well, bud. And hey, yeah, go get that discount, guys, on the full season package. You guys get access to so many things. We got Jerry hanging out. New room? No, same room. I think it's just the different lighting. It's the same room we've been hanging out in the last couple months. Sport Dog, good evening, my man. Hope you're doing well. Long time no see. He wants to add Braylon Allen, Bucky Irving, or Rico. But who would you cut off my bench? T. Biggins, B-Rob, Worthy, Tajay, or Isaiah Likely? Or should I just forget it? So I'm assuming you have another tight end ahead of Likely. I would be curious to know who that is, Sport Dog. I don't think Tajay Spears is ever going to be like a must-start player for you, where if you wanted to upgrade the running back position, I think I would just swap out Tajay for a handcuff here, Braylon, Bucky, or like they're all kind of in the same tier for me, where they're guys that, you know, they might have some weekly upside, you know, of 7 to 10 points. But I'm assuming you paid a good waiver priority for Likely. He's probably your number 2 tight end. We're not cutting Higgins, B-Rob, or Worthy. Like, that's for sure. So it comes down to Tajay or Likely. If you have Trey McBride or Brock Bowers or Mark Andrews, like I probably, and Dalton Kincaid's your tight end. Okay. So in that case, I might keep Likely. And if you want to swap out Tajay Spears, like you have Brian Robinson to call up next. So if you wanted to, Tajay is not going to get the carries as long as Tony Pollard's healthy. Tajay is just going to mix in on passing downs and be a guy that gets 5 or 6 carries per game. So I'm fine with letting Spears go and just, you know, moving to a situation where there's a running back that you like more than Tajay. If it's me, I mean, I like Braylon Allen, but it's going to take a Breece Hall injury for him to be unlocked. I like Bucky Irving, who's starting to steal more from Rachaad White, but I think that's going to take a full injury to Rachaad White to unlock Bucky. Whereas Rico Dowdle right now, I think he's the starting running back. I'm very curious to see what happens in week 3 with Rico Dowdle. I think there's a chance that he starts the game again, and there's a chance that you know, he starts to earn more work as the season goes on. So I don't really have a preference. These guys are all nice bench pieces. If you want Braylon, go with Braylon. Bucky's fine. They're all good options. Jerry says full PPR, 1 wide receiver and 1 flex. Akers. Yeah, we should talk about Cam Akers real quick. You guys should go run to your waiver wires. And I'm not seeing, like, ESPN hasn't updated the projections yet, but Cam Akers is projected 0 points right now. He's 4.5% rostered. When I looked a couple hours ago, he was 3.7 or 3.9%. So he is increasing over the next couple days. And I think we're not going to see Joe Mixon or Dameon Pierce. The exact quote here, he took first team snaps at practice Wednesday and Thursday. So here's your starting running back. And I know he fumbled at the goal line, but 7 for 32, 1 for 3. This was in about a quarter of work. You know, there's a chance that, and Akers looked pretty good in the preseason. We're seeing J.K. Dobbins play well from the Achilles injury. We're seeing Cam Akers play well. I mean, if Pierce is out and Mixon's out, like, we're starting Cam Akers. Chuba, Judy, Naylor, assuming Addison out and maybe JJ out, Higgins if active. Okay, so if PPR, 1 receiver, 1 flex. JJ said he's playing, so I trust that he's playing. I'm very nervous about T. Higgins in his first game back. This is his first week practicing. I don't think I'm comfortable starting T. Higgins despite the awesome matchup against the Commanders. So I'm probably going to go with Akers and Chuba Hubbard here. Chuba intrigues me because he's got a nice PPR floor. He didn't even play well last week. Well, he played actually okay last week, but I just think Andy Dalton gives him a little bit of a jolt. And last week, Chuba, 10 for 64, 4 for 12, 11.6 points without a touchdown. I think that's pretty safe. Otherwise, I do like Judy. So let me change my answers here. I'm going to rank them as Akers, and that's assuming both running backs are out. Akers, Judy, Chuba, Naylor, Higgins. Higgins might be on a snap count. We don't really know what to expect there. So I'm gonna pass on T. Higgins. Pick one for flex. Brian Thomas, Kirk, Warren, Mooney, Pierce, Akers, Whittington. It's Akers. If no Mixon and no Pierce, it's Akers slam dunk. I'm nervous about our Jags, Aiden. I'm nervous about our Jags. If I'm starting a Jag, I think I'm going to throw Brian Thomas Jr. out there. I don't hate the Darnell Mooney play because I would assume the top cornerback is going to be on Drake London. And I'm assuming that's Alec Pierce, which I don't hate, but again, it's a tough Bears secondary. And with Whittington, I love having Whittington on my teams, but I kind of want to see what it looks like, before we start it. So if I'm starting a guy here, it's going to be Akers. And say Joe Mixon or one of Mixon or Pierce plays, I think I'll go with Brian Thomas Jr. And yeah, full PPR, but I think it's looking like Akers. So to me, Wednesdays are kind of like a walkthrough day where they're in shorts and they're kind of installing the offense that they're going to run for the week. Thursday's usually the big padded practice day. If you're not practicing on Thursday, that raises my concern. So I think Akers is going to be the guy this week. Whoa. Tony Pollard shouldn't be on the waivers, my man, Jerry. I mean, go cut Jalen Nailor and pick up Tony Pollard, like, if you can. Wow. Yeah, we got to get Terry. We got to get Pollard. Honestly, I think Terry's a bench stash. I'm iffy on Thielen just because Deontay's there, but like these three guys should not be on the waivers. Yeah, the tight end position is complete garbage right now. Let's look at that. And your Brock Bowers call, man. It's looking like the league winning move at tight end. He's tight end 2 right now. Now you got George Kittle out. I do think if I'm going to pick any tight end on this list, it's going to be Trey McBride, who continues to get targets. 9 targets, 6 targets, 6 for 67 last week. I think it's very clear to me that McBride's going to be the first or second tight end at the end of the year. But Brock Bowers right now, I think those are the only 2 tight ends that I can say I want on my team for sure right now. And yeah, it's a complete weird start to the year here. Gesicki news, please. Do we have anything? Did Mike Gesicki miss practice or something today? And they play on Monday, so there was no news yesterday. Limited with a calf. I'm not too concerned on this one. If he misses practice tomorrow, then we can be concerned. I would assume he's going to go. Let me just do a little searchy here. It's not expected to be a serious issue, and the team is taking recovery day to day for the. Okay, so we'll monitor that tomorrow at practice. I'm not scared at the moment, so you should be okay for Gesicki Harris. Yeah, we got a little bit of the gold. So the sun sets behind the computer here, so we get a nice little sunset in the room at the end of the day. Pick one: Conklin, Ingram, Kraft, PPR. So I downgraded Ingram to doubtful. The news on Ingram was not great. Let me go find Ingram, and he's not even on the first page. So we have a quote here. So he's more week to week, and with a hamstring injury being such a long season, they're probably going to lean towards being cautious here. So he didn't practice today. They play Monday. I'm not expecting Ingram to play, so I would move on from that. I'm not whipping out Tyler Conklin in this one. Conklin makes me pretty nervous. He's been playing all the snaps, and he's been getting a lot of action, but 2 targets in each game. This is not something I want to mess with. And then Tucker Kraft actually popped up on the injury report. Let me pull that up here. So I saw he was in a red non-contact jersey. He was limited with a shoulder today. Every morning I wake up feeling even better. It'll be good. So it's sounding like he's going to play. But if Malik Willis is starting, I don't want to play Kraft. So what I would do if I was you, Harris, I'd probably get rid of Conklin, and I would go add Brenton Strange right now, who is the backup to Evan Ingram. He came in, and he was a former second-round pick. He went 3 for 65, and he had 6 targets last week, which, 9.5 points from a tight end right now, that is an A+ in my eyes. So I'm looking at Brenton Strange in leagues where I have Ingram. I think he's an interesting handcuff just in case. If Ingram can go, cool, but then you have the backup there, and you can make your move from there. So I would play Strange over Conklin, over Kraft. If Jordan Love plays, then you can play Kraft. Daniel says we're cutting 2. Ford, Foreman, Edwards, and Chandler, 0.5 PPR. I have Chubb on IR. We're going to cut Edwards. Man. That's tough because I think Chandler he's a very valuable handcuff right now. So if you need Foreman to start in your lineup in the next 2-3 weeks, I would hold on to Foreman. But if you don't need Foreman, I'm cutting Foreman and Edwards, and I'm going to hold on to Ford and Chandler. So I think I'm cutting Edwards and Foreman. And because you have Nick Chubb, you essentially have the role that Foreman's holding right now. So I wouldn't cut Chandler. I think he's as valuable as can be as a handcuff running back. Let's take a look here. I believe it looks like Ferguson's going to go this week. He has logged back-to-back limiteds here, which is a sign in the right direction. He might be a little bit off on a snap count. I think you have to wait and see some coach speak stuff on that. If I have Ferguson, and I have Ferguson in one league where if he plays, I'm going to play him unless they say he's going to be limited in snaps. So I don't know the answer yet, but I'm encouraged that it looks like he's ahead of schedule and he avoided a serious injury. So he's got a knee wrap on. So let's get some more information. I think it's looking good for Ferguson this week, though. Yeah, so there's not really any news. So I guess the running back news in Kansas City is they brought up Keontae Ingram, which I think is notable. So they signed him off their practice squad. Kareem Hunt is not yet off the practice squad. So this weekend, you're going to see Steele, Perine, and Ingram be the three running backs that are up on the roster. I expect Carson. So, just in the past, like Pacheco, his role has been 15 to 19 carries. They're not just going to give all that to one guy. You're probably going to see maybe 10 to 13 carries for Carson Steele and maybe 5 to 7 carries for Samaje Perine. I think there's probably 20 carries to go around in this game against the Falcons, maybe more. And it's probably going to be a hot hand approach. Like if Carson Steele takes the first carry for 12 yards, they're going to let him cook. If Samaje Perine, rumbles his first carries for 16 yards, they're going to let him go. So I'm not quite sure how it's going to look. I'm banking on Steele, though, to be the lead ball carrier. And they gave him 7 carries last week, 7 for 24 with a fumble. But he is their short yardage guy. He is a guy that's probably going to lead the team in carries. And then I still like Perine a lot because Perine's going to get his 4 to 6 carries. He's going to get his 2 to 3 catches, and he's going to be in that Jerick McKinnon role that we've always known and loved. But Kareem Hunt is there. I'm not rushing to the waiver wire to sign Kareem Hunt. I think I'd rather have Keontae Ingram, honestly, than Kareem Hunt at this point. Yeah, with BTJ, the 40-yard bonus is where it's at. I think the Jags, they're going to figure it out. Maybe not against Buffalo this week, but I think they have to really lean into Christian Kirk. And we got to get Christian Kirk more opportunity. He's their best receiver. And they got to feature him. They got to get him his 5-6 catches. I mean, he's a good slot receiver. They got to find a way to get Kirk in there. But I think BTJ and the 40-yard bonus is the way to go. Yeah, I think right now I moved Carr ahead of Trevor Lawrence in my rankings. Eckler. I still think Eckler should be picked up. Like, I'd rather have Austin Eckler than Jalen Nailor. And I get it, Nailor's getting some opportunity. But the issue with Nailor is when Addison returns, he kind of loses value. And then you have TJ Hawkinson returning at some point here. So long-term, I'd rather have Eckler than Nailor. Henry or Ferguson. I think just because we don't know, what's up, Tony? Hope you're doing well. Just because we don't know what's going on with Ferguson yet, I think you have to play Henry. I mean, there's a chance Ferguson practices all week and they don't use him. So I would be, and assuming you don't have another tight end that you're going to call up, I think you have to play Hunter Henry this week. 2 for 8, not a great floor, but we saw something last week that looks pretty good. The Jets against tight end right now, they've allowed 4 for 40 and 5 for 29. So hopefully you get your 8 points out of Hunter Henry as your floor with the upside for more there from Hunter Henry. So I'm going to go HH. So if this is a 1 QB league there, Aiden, I'm willing to hold on to Trevor just to see what can happen. If you can trade Trevor Lawrence, though, maybe you might be able to get Geno Smith, who's looking pretty good. Back-to-back 17 points here in this format. You can maybe go buy low on Jared Goff, who I know he doesn't have any rushing upside, but I expect these numbers to get better soon. They play Arizona, Seattle, some good matchups for him potentially. You can try Sam Darnold. I mean, he's going to get Addison and TJ Hawkinson back. They have some tough games coming up. Houston, Green Bay, and the Jets. These are three good defenses. Then you got a bye week. Whereas Mr. Lawrence, Buffalo, Houston, Indy, these are some good defenses here coming up. Buffalo and Houston, not so much Indy, but I don't know. I would poke around and see what the buying price is for Geno Smith, for Goff, for Sam Darnold. I think I'm open to it, but I think Trevor's going to be okay. Jonnu Smith or Munt. I'm going to go Jonnu Smith. Skylar Thompson dumps it off a lot. We saw a nice spike here from Jonnu Smith in the second half of that game. 6 for 53, 7 targets. He might be just a reliable underneath guy that Skylar Thompson has a chemistry with. I'm going to go Jonnu Smith. So I do like Derek Carr this week because they're getting the Eagles. The Eagles have allowed 16 and 17 points. They've allowed 2 touchdowns in each game to quarterbacks. Like, you can throw on the Eagles. And this game should be a nice high-scoring game. It's in New Orleans, so I'm very much into Derek Carr. I think I have him ranked as like my QB 10, 11 in that range. So I like Derek Carr. I think he's a QB1 in 1 QB leagues. Tell me more about Ty Chandler. Do you think he will? So he's not going to steal Aaron Jones's job. But last week we saw when Aaron Jones went to the sideline and missed some plays, Ty Chandler looked good. And I mean, they don't have a running back 3. So if Aaron Jones aggravates something, he's got a hip injury right now. So he's, the injury seal is broken here. If he's not 100%, that increases the risk of injury. And you're playing a good Houston team. They're very, very good in their front 7. They could bang him up. You might see Ty Chandler start at some point this year. We're not starting Ty Chandler yet, but if you look at these numbers, 7 and 8, he's got a weekly, in an emergency case, you can start Ty Chandler and get 6 to 8 points. I think I feel pretty good about that. And then when he does get in, he looked very good against a good San Francisco team that couldn't stop him from running when they knew they were going to run. So I think Ty Chandler, as far as handcuffs go, he's a priority handcuff for me with some weekly upside. I mean, I think, for starting, if you had to start Ty Chandler, like he's in the Rico Dowdle kind of Jalen Warren tier right now, where you're just kind of hoping for 8 to 10 points. Jonnu Smith or Strange. I'm gonna go Brenton Strange just because I think it's a better offense, and I trust Trevor more than I trust Skylar Thompson, right? So Brenton Strange, he's projected for 7.9 points. Again, 3 for 65, 6 targets. They looked at him in the red zone, and the Bills have been bad against tight ends. 7 for 42 against Arizona, 7 for 61 last week against Miami. They can give up points to the middle of the field. So I feel good about Brenton Strange, assuming Ingram can't go. Right now I'd rather have Nico Collins than Jamar Chase. So I do not hate it. In fact, I love it. I moved Nico up. I think he's in my rest of season rankings. I think I moved him up. And, I'll give you guys a sneak peek here. And I will be updating these once a week. If you guys wanted to get access to the members' rest of season rankings. So I have Chase at 4, Nico at 5. After next week, I might be moving that up. But they're in the same tier for me. I think Nico Collins is a baller. I think he's the new Mike Evans. I love Nico. Foreman and Chandler are available on waivers. Okay. We're getting rid of Gus Edwards. I'm going to go add Ty Chandler if that's my team. Because assuming you're going to start Ford, I'm fine with Ford because I like their schedule for the next 3 games. I think you're fine there. You have Ford as your RB3. I would pick up Ty Chandler, who I think has a chance to move up to be your RB2 or 3 at some point this season. And you have Steele too. So yeah, we don't need Gus Edwards on this team. And Gus Edwards is, Gus Edwards is just not, he's not good anymore. I actually started Gus Edwards in a league last week because they were just playing the Panthers, and he got me some yards. But I mean, 18 carries for 60 yards. Are you kidding me? That's 3.3 yards per carry. He's got no role in the passing game. I'm moving on from Gus Edwards. And you got Steele. So Steele is your RB4 right now. Raiders or Seahawks defense this week. Let's take a peek at the defenses. I do like the Raiders. You can't argue. It's a great matchup at home against Carolina. The Raiders have been feisty on defense. I mean, they kind of stifled the Ravens here. They got an interception and 2 sacks. Not such a great game against the Chargers, but the Chargers' offensive line really kept them in check. But the Seahawks here, I kind of trust the Seahawks more than I trust the Raiders. At home against the Skylar Thompson-led offense, I know there's a lot of weapons in Miami to get the ball to, but I think I like the Seahawks to keep this a low-scoring game, get some turnovers. I'm going to go Seattle Seahawks. What do you think I can get for Zamir White, Madison, and Travis Kelce? I'm not sure if you're trading all 3 of those guys at once for a player, or are you trading Zamir White? I mean, I don't think anybody wants to buy Zamir White and Madison. This is tough, Harris, because I don't think anyone wants to buy these guys right now. So you're going to be selling low massively on them. I think if I have Zamir White on my team, they're gonna play the Carolina Panthers this week. So I'm projecting Zamir White to be a low-end running back too. This is probably going to be maybe his best game of the year, where I expect him to get up to those 13 to 15 carries. I think after this game, then you can evaluate selling Zamir White and trying cashing in on a running back too. I mean, if I can flip him for Devin Singletary, something like that, a starting running back, I think I would do that. And then with Kelce, I mean, if you're trying to move Kelce for a tight end, if you can buy low on Pitts or Kincaid or Ferguson or Laporta for that matter, that's probably what I'm looking for. And nobody's trading for Madison. Again, it's not a good idea to sell low. Like you're selling at the lowest point here for some of these players. Right now, you're not going to get, you might get Deshaun Watson. You might get Justin Fields. You might get Aaron Rodgers, Matthew Stafford. These are guys that not a lot of people want right now. So that's probably what you're looking for, guys with similar outputs. But it's tough because I don't think anyone's going to want Caleb Williams right now. I think it's worth looking into. I do like J.K. Dobbins. He's been arguably the best running back in the league from an advanced metric standpoint. But I'm a little bit nervous about him staying healthy. He doesn't have a great passing down role, and they've had 2 pretty easy matchups against the Raiders and the Panthers. So I do think we're at a high point for Dobbins, and this is one that I think is worth selling. If you can flip J.K. Dobbins for, I don't know, a flex player that could help you, whether it's a running back or a wide receiver, I think I'm into that. And I do got to get going here, guys, so I will answer these few questions, and we got to dip. JSN or Jameson Williams at flex. I'm going to go Jameson Williams, man. That Arizona Cardinals game has 52.5 points implied. Lions, Cardinals, give me Jameson Williams. So I think there is a legit chance that he becomes the RB1, but there's not going to really, it's not like a bell cow role. It's there's room for 2 guys here. They're going to use them kind of like that Steelers backfield where Foreman leads the team in carries, but Ford's out there in passing situations. So I think at the end of the day, they're both probably 8 to 10 fantasy points per game. It's just a matter of Foreman getting the touchdowns near the goal line, but Ford has shown the ability to score touchdowns from far out. So I think it's a 1A, 1B situation. I'm ranking Ford ahead of Foreman, though, in full PPR. Why do I kind of want Herbert? They're not going to – yeah, they're going to have to open up – they're going to have to open up the passing game in LA soon. So if you want to get Justin Herbert, I think it's a good buy low opportunity right now. This week, Wilson, Neighbors, JSN, Jameson, Williams. Wilson, Neighbors, JSN, Williams. I mean, I think you're starting Malik Neighbors. That's probably the number one. I think I'm going to go Wilson 2. I'm going to go Jamison 3 and JSN 4. So Neighbors, Wilson, Jamison, JSN. Josh Jacobs at 20 Pollard happy. I'm going Josh Jacobs. I trust him to get the volume. Even if Malik, it doesn't matter if it's Malik or Jordan Love. I like Josh Jacobs there. What about half PPR? How would you rank them? Okay, that actually does change it, because then in a half PPR, I would rather Deonta Foreman, because yards and touchdowns are more important in that format to me than catches. So in that format, yes, I'm going Foreman over Ford. If you can try and flip Ford for somebody, I think it's worth looking into. But definitely Foreman in a half PPR. But that's it for tonight, guys. I do have to get going. If you guys do have more questions, you can always reach out to me on Twitter. If you guys want to join the Discord, it's in the membership program. So check out thefantasyfellowship.com. Good luck tonight. Enjoy the game. We will see you guys Saturday morning. I'm doing a player prop show. And then Sunday morning live, we're going live at 10:30 a.m. when all the inactives and actives come in. We'll be live Sunday morning. We'll see you guys then. Have a good one. Peace.